Thank you, Sadiq. And Showbiz A to Z is made possible thanks to MTN everywhere you go, and of course, Superstar Multi-Fruit Drink from Casa Preco Company Limited. We have a lot to talk about this afternoon into the evening, but let me quickly get on Zoom and connect with one son of the land that we are so proud of, three-time Grammy-nominated musician Rocky Downey. Rocky, it's good afternoon here. I don't know what time it is where you are. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can, maybe on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect, loud and clear. How are you doing, Rocky?
I'm doing very good. It's actually very early morning here. I'm in California desert right now. I'm in Palm
Oh,
Springs.
oh, great.
So, but it's always great to wake up and connect with my brothers and sisters. As you can see, when you're traveling, you always miss home. So
Yeah.
it's been a very intense week for me, and it's good to be on the other side. Getting a little bit rest and nature and all of that. So yeah, but it made me wake up early morning, so that's good.
Well, at least we didn't get you out of bed that early. So that's fine. That's fine. But quickly before we get into the Grammy conversation, I wanted to find out from you if you've been able to check out the Billboard list of top 10 rappers of all time, and probably if you have any comments with regards to the list.
Well, the thing is that I am not a one that subscribes to lists,
Okay.
and hierarchies, and because I feel that art form is a subjective thing, and many people, the relevance of what they represent does not necessarily mean something that, an industry that is only based upon mostly commercial considerations and not necessarily the depth of talent that, some of the talent that I have seen that were really incredible, that I will call some of the best rappers that I've met, in my journey and all of that, many of them didn't make it to that list. So it's hard for me to make a comment on that. But at the same time, too, I think that, celebrating an art form that came out of the Black people's experience and, was also inspired, as we can all know, that this rap music came from the griot music of Africa. So we shouldn't lose sight of that. I mean, although Cool Herc and all of those people, really brought it because it came from Jamaican dance hall and all of that, and they started in the Bronx and in New York, and were able to popularize this art form. The origins of it is based upon the traditional African style of music and communication and oratory. So to celebrate the top fives, what's it called? Top five artists. I was actually I was present at the Black Music, Coalition event where, Dr. Dre was being honored, Lil Wayne was being honored, and everybody was being honored. And it was a good thing to see that this art form has had the opportunity of being in the central part of popular music, so that's something that we should celebrate. And even when we look at Ghana, it's come back and influenced us. I remember, when I was on the red carpet, I was asked to name my five top rappers. And what I did was that I had to add African rappers in it,
Oh, okay.
because I was like, I'm not there to be someone that is pushing only rappers that have had the opportunity and the
Mm,
ecosystem of being hailed on that level that are being talked about. When we talk about African rap, and we can't forget people like Reggie Rostone. We can't forget people like Positive Black Soul out of Senegal, who were even one of the earliest bands to really popularize African rap by mixing even the original griot style with the popular style, And I mentioned Sarkodie too, So for me, it was, and everybody was like, but that's what is relevant to me. So we go there to tell our stories. We don't go there to amplify other people's story. That is
Right.
our mission there. So when we talk of top 5 rappers of all time, it's a subjective thing. And I feel that we are becoming a society that is depending on ranking and all of that. Look at Ochame Kwame. I mean, come on, amazing rapper and all of that kind of stuff. But when we're talking about other people, so let's stay to a narrative that really reflects who we are, because I think that when it comes to the best, we are from the best, and the best is always in the West, and the best is always in Ghana. So
Lovely.
that's just my take on it.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you. And talking about representing ourselves best, Ghana put up a heavy representation at the Grammy Awards recently, and I mean, Africa in actual fact was heavily represented. I mean, the likes of you were there as well. And well, first of all, let me find out how different was this Grammy experience for you compared to the other times you've been nominated and you've been in attendance.
The interesting thing about the Grammys is that many people ask me, and they ask me, how do you get nominated? What happens? And all of that kind of stuff. I say, I'm just an artist. As you see right afterwards, I'm right now in the desert. I'm writing. Immediately I get back to LA, I'm getting in the studio. I'm working. I'm building an album. And that's what I do. And even somebody just went onto my my comment page right now and say, why do you want a Grammy? Didn't you see the devil worship at the Grammy? And I was like, hey, I'm not there to represent, I'm just there to represent God and represent music and represent myself. That's what I do, But the interesting thing is that the Grammys are a means by which, our peers, celebrate creativity around the world. So regardless of anything, as artists, we do things in isolation. We do things by ourselves. You go on tour, you push your music on radio. Some of it gets popular, some of it doesn't get popular. But when there's an opportunity to celebrate through the industry, there's a positive aspect to it, And this year, there was more African nominees, about 10 Africans that were nominated across, So it shows that the recognition and then the impact of African music, especially in the times in which we live in, has become amplified, And this amplification, for me, the value of it is that we are working to build stronger systems for our music. We're trying to get our copyright, done very well. We're trying to get artists to be paid for their work. We're trying to get our systems upgraded so that we can be able to monitor airplay around the world. We're trying to get opportunity for our artists to play around the world. So sometimes some of these attention are a means to leverage this type of investments and this type of inclusion in our industry. A good example was that, my nomination, when I was nominated last year, we had GIPC, come with me, including Denta Amoateng, to Las Vegas to hold an event that was leveraging my nomination to also engage the business community and all of that. And that is how our people connected with the academy, and it
Right.
also led to now us being able to leverage that to also engage the academy to focus on some of our artists and also to focus on Africa. So these are all things that are a product of, in terms of the work that I have done, or through my music have done, to also leverage that platform to help, jumpstart our industry. And for me, the value is not necessarily getting awards. I say we should not be fixated on awards. Awards are not necessarily creativity. Awards are not necessarily the best. Even some of the greatest musicians in history never received an award. Fela Kuti was never received a Grammy Award. Bob Marley never received a Grammy Award. You know, so it shouldn't be a yardstick by which we feel is the definitive expression of your artistic value.
Okay.
But it has a certain value to it. And that's what I want to say. It was a good time for Africa, 10 nominations from across the continent, and it was a big representation of the continent.
All right. Now, Rocky, you made a point, and I would want to ask you a bit more on this. Now, you've been nominated for the Grammys 3 times. You haven't won yet, but what kind of benefits come with even being, say, Grammy nominated? What benefits come with that?
You know, every country, even when you read the Academy, before they read everybody's thing, they talk about how many nominations they've had and how many wins they've had, because the nominations are as important as the win. When you're nominated, there's only 5 or 4 that is called out of the world. So it's a very honorable place to have certain bodies of work have that kind of acknowledgement. Winning is, you know, is something that when it comes, but you don't fixate, as I say, you don't fixate on the awards. You fixate on doing the right thing. You fixate on building our industry. We should fixate on how we can get more Ghanaian artists to be successful musically, not winning awards. How our industry can work together to push, you know, our myriads of talent and creativity to the fore. That's what I think that's what we need to do. So I see, you know, I am happy that I have been one of the only few artists that has been nominated in 3 different categories, you know, which is unheard of. That shows the extent of the creativity that I put in my work in the reggae's category, in the global category, and also global performance. So it's a good thing for our industry. I think that we should focus on the positive, and we should use that as an opportunity to, you know, uphold and develop our industry and connect with all our incredibly talented pool of musicians. I always say that anytime anybody asks me, I always say that you have to come to Ghana and see how our industry is full of, you know, creatives who are creating pathways and breaking the mold when it comes to African music. That's all I can say.
Wonderful. Now, we saw footage of, you know, the first ever Africa nominee brunch that was held on the eve of the Grammy Awards, put together by Guba and Denta Amwatin, which was really exciting. We saw a number of nominees there as well come through, like yourself, Rocky. We also saw quite a number of other nominees come through. Would you say that this definitely is a step in the right direction, Rocky?
No, any event that, you know, highlights African music and African musicians is a good initiative. That's why I am here. Yeah.
Right, great. Okay, so Rocky, please do stay with us. I'll be connecting pretty shortly with Denta Amwatin as well. She is the CEO of Guba, and she made the Africa nominee brunch possible. But let me come back to the studio real quick, and let me come to Uncle Ken. Uncle Ken, what do you make of Ghana's representation at the recently held Grammy Awards? We saw the likes of Stonebwoy, we saw the likes of Edem on the red carpet as well, and Kitty was also in attendance. Rocky was there as well, definitely, and there was also a bit of commentary on social media regarding how people were networking and all that.
Exactly.
Holistically, what do you make of it?
I think it was brilliant. I mean, it was something we need to celebrate because, I mean, back here in this country, in the music industry, the conversation has always been Grammys, Grammys, Grammys. And I'm a Kwame. That has been the conversation. What we can do to win Grammys, you know, in the music industry currently. So I was pleasantly happy to see the consignment that attended the Grammys, you know.
Yeah.
And people are forgetting there were other journalists who were also there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I saw.
Because I
one or
heard
two, yeah.
an interview that was Delamundi interview with the Grammy chief, Harvey Mason Jr.
Yeah.
You know, about what he felt about the African representation and the Ghanaian particularly, because he had been here a few months prior to the Grammys, you know. And I felt good that at least we're making inroads. This attitude of us to always look for negatives in every situation, it's terrible. I just don't understand why we are obsessed as a people with looking for negatives instead of applauding the positives. We would lay down the positives and deal with the negatives. And like somebody said, I think it was you, people go on social media and insult, you know, talk down on people and make things look like they're not worth what they are. It's a very unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in. I was happy to see all these folks, you know. And for anybody to say things like Stone Boy was no, yeah, thank you. What is Ahoshishe? Why do you think he went there? He's there. He knows what he's about. He's taking advantage of the situation. He's laying down, you know, plans for himself. I think it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. Sammy, something surprised me at this year's Grammys event. What is the category that Burna Boy won last year? Was it global?
I think it was global music.
Yes, they changed the world music thing to global, didn't they?
Yes.
After a while, okay. Now, I realized that after all the discussions on the Grammys, I didn't know the point being made by people was, oh, Burna Boy got nominated but didn't win. You know, this year.
They didn't focus on which other African won the award.
Yeah, but was it an African that won the award?
There was an African in it.
Yeah, I'm saying Burna Boy is African. He was in it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, was it? Yeah. Was it an African that won that global?
There was an African in
yes,
it.
the flutist is not African, but the two other artists are African.
Okay,
The South African
that got
lady.
me thinking, so I checked.
Is that Rocky's category or Bennett's category?
Bennett's category.
Bennett's category. What was Bennett's category?
Global music album.
Thank you. Do you know who won that award?
The name is so no. I can't
I'm asking because I found it very interesting that nobody talked about who won the award, but it was about who was supposed to have won the award and didn't,
Or who they were expecting.
or who
to
they
win
were
the award.
expecting to win the award and didn't. So when I was reading through all the publications and all the commentary on social media and elsewhere, I asked myself, but who actually won that global thing award this year? So I went to check. And do you know who won? It's amazing. That award, the global the global music album for solo album of this Grammys win was won by a Japanese, not an African.
Wow.
Not a West Indian, not a British, it was won by a Japanese. And the Japanese is known as Masanori Takumi. And he's better known as Masa Takumi. He's a Japanese Grammy Award winning multi-instrumentalist, composer, and music producer. He was nominated for a Grammy Award in 2014 for Best Reggae Album. That caught my attention. How could a Japanese be nominated for Best Reggae Album? And so you come back to Rocky. What was Rocky nominated for.
Global
One of
Performance.
his nominations.
Global music performance.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying even before that, wasn't it for a reggae album of
Yeah,
his?
reggae album first.
Yes,
Yeah.
the reggae album was first, and that is when all of us started asking, but how can a Ghanaian artist do reggae music and be nominated? What were the Jamaicans and things not doing? So it shows you that the Grammy people look for certain things other than what we think they are looking for in nominating or choosing award winners.
Yeah, true.
You know, so now this Japanese is an award winner for this year for Best Global Music Album for his solo album Sakura. So I went to check on the album. I listened to it and I realized that he had something that intrigued
Okay.
the folks. That's why they gave it to him. So Sammy, all the commentary about what upset me was the one about Edem. Somebody made some derogatory commentary about Edem, why he was there. But this goes to show that it's not the people who are commercially viable that win Grammys all the time.
True. Let me come to Ochami Kwame.
Yes.
The rap doctor. Grammys 2023, Ghana's representation. What do you make of it?
I loved it. Honestly. So I woke up the next day, I went on social media, I saw Stonebwoy and Edem greeting at the Grammy. I said, wow, how did this happen? I didn't hear of it. So I woke up to it. I honestly didn't follow the whole Twitter, obviously, hula baloo on who should have won and the trolls. But I thought it was an amazing opportunity because if I had the opportunity to go to the Grammys, I would jump on the next flight to go and spend time with all those amazing artists that I look up to and seize the opportunity to try to see if I can get a telephone number or two so I can get in some features and take pictures for my social media and connect, find management and find plugs and try to see if I can have a real connection with someone that can take my music to the next level. There's no way that I would not have taken advantage of that opportunity. So, and
Hi, my name is Ochami Kwame. I'm from Ghana. You know what I'm
I
saying?
would have gone in my kente.
I was going to ask
gone
you.
in my kente.
I was going to ask you, how would you have dressed for the occasion?
But if you do that,
Wallahi talahi.
Johnny, how would you have dressed for the
I
occasion?
would have gone in my kente.
Thank you.
In my henema with
That's
my
right.
beats all around and get like a boom player, a boom box and be playing Adwa.
Who is this African playing?
Exactly.
What's your name? Where you coming from?
Exactly. Since I cannot go with the whole ensemble,
Yeah.
I will have like a boom box following me,
And you would have looked different.
and then I'll go in my regal kente with gold everywhere. You know,
Nice.
it would have been very difficult for someone else to steal the shine.
Exactly. I agree. That was my only down trip.
But I
with
love
these
that.
guys.
I thought I didn't think that people will laugh at this opportunity. But you know, Uncle, you should know that in a country where we chastise children for not coming first, we even sometimes beat our sons for if a woman beats your son in
class.
one more bumper beat you. In a country where everything is competitive, in a country where a lot of things are divisive, in a country where, especially in our industry, our revenue is residual, which means people pay school fees, eat, buy clothes, go to the hospital before they use the next 200 cedis to watch
To
an
buy a
event, or
bottle of beer.
The next $10 to. In such a place, you should understand that a lot of people are bitter. That's why we have so many bitters on the market.
Boss.
Yes, a lot of people are bitter. We beat children when they make mistakes. When they grow up and someone goes to the Grammys and do not win, we will punish them for not winning.
Yeah.
Not observing that 90% of the time the child washed his dishes, slept, laid his bed, went to school, so we don't see all that. But immediately they make one mistake, we are trying to. So it is something that we carry back. You were asking, you don't understand why we are better. We pass it on to our children. That is who we are. You know, so if we really want art, like, let me shamefully quote Karl Marx, we can't indulge in art until after we've learned to clothe and feed ourselves. You know, so as long as we still have that type of mentality, no art is going to emerge from this place. So we need to work on ourselves and plant the victory psychology and the victory energy in our children, so that they will grow up and clap for the one that got nominated and not tease them.
Valid point. Valid point. Kwame Dazi.
Yes, sir. Well, I think we were very well represented at the Grammys. Well represented, because even apart from nominations from Rocky Dauni, we had Guilty Beats any nominations as well.
Yeah.
He did a song, Move, on Beyonce's Renaissance.
Yeah.
Now, that particular song earned him the Album of the Year and then the Dance Stroke Electronic Album of the Year nominations. Now, previously, you know, we've had debates and controversy surrounding what really constitutes one getting nomination at the Grammys. Now, that particular category required that any producer who was on deserved a nomination and ultimately winning. So Guilty was a nominee and a potential winner.
Yeah.
So apart from Rocky, apart from Guilty, and all the people that appeared at the African nominees branch, the red carpet, Stoneboy, networking, and all that, I think it's something that we should be happy about. Now, most times we hear people say, as for awards, you know, even Rocky said some just a while ago that, you know, it's subjective and all that, making reference to the Billboard chart. But he's in an award scheme that is also very subjective. I think show business is something that isn't always very objective. You know, most times we use metrics and parameters that are collective subjectivity, if you like. So it's Sadiq's opinion and Chief Mumin's opinion plus Uncle Ken's opinion together, aggregation of subjectivity. So we can't get 100% objectivity in that regard. But I think we should look at the business side of it. It's a show business. And so if you saw Stoneboy trying to talk to Taylor Swift there on the red carpet, it was business. You look at the opportunities that come with the nomination. And when you asked Rocky, I don't know if he evaded the question or maybe he didn't understand it, because I was looking forward to him telling us how these 3 nominations have helped him.
Helped his career.
You know, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We've seen artists down here in Ghana who have gotten some international deals because they were maybe nominated in the VGMA's 3 Music Awards or even won the awards. So you can't underestimate that particular effect on you, as in getting a nomination, the Grammys or any other award scheme. So I think that Denta has done well again, you know, thinking about Africans in general, and that has been her agenda for a while now, you know, championing the African dream and all that. So bringing all these people together and then making sure our people were also very well involved. And I think it should be a stepping stone to the Ghanaians that went there to doing something bigger. You know, maybe next time we hear Stoneboy and Jordan Sparks, or maybe Kitty and somebody else, or Adam and whoever. Because I saw Stoneboy take pictures with about 7 or 8 people, you know, Kabaka, Pyramid, Fat Joe, and all those people. I think it is a very smart move. And I'm happy that this year we went to the Grammys. We were there. We were felt there. And so maybe moving forward, yes, you may think that we are being overly obsessed with the Grammys. But yes, we need to, because Charlie, it's a show business. So that's it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Chief Mumin.
Well, let me take it from where my brother Kwame landed. You know, the idea of we being obsessed with the Grammys. You know, obviously Grammys is essentially an American awards for American musicians, except that it has become like the de facto world music awards because of the the important role the American economy, or music economy, or entertainment economy plays. Probably the biggest show business, is from the United States. So it's understandable why an American validation in quotes is something to be coveted, because, well, it's show business, right? So that's the biggest market. The biggest stars are usually American stars. So, I mean, you can understand the American cultural, at the risk of being accused of using big words, American cultural hegemony over the world. So any association with that global power in terms of show business is something that a lot of people in the global south around the world will associate. So it's not only Ghanaians who may obsess with winning the Grammy Award, or Africans who may obsess. I'm sure if you go to all around the world, a Brazilian nominated will be obsessed. Look at this Bad Bunny. Is he American? He's Latino, right? But even in his performance at the Grammy, whatever wins, it's something that his people will be proud of. This Japanese person, so globally, to win a Grammy Award is a big deal because of the important role America plays in the world of entertainment. So I've always felt that, yes, those of our artists who can get representation is all good, but we should always be careful not to make the Grammys a gold standard, not to be overly competitive about the Grammys, and not to devalue, the essence of our local musicians, because they may not have gone to the Grammys or earned the Grammy nomination. For me, that's all I've always been cautioned about, that we shouldn't enter a new system of craze where, the way we herald our artists is because that artist has gone to Grammys or won a Grammy, right? It's all right that some of them will go, a few of them will always go. But we would always celebrate and enjoy our musicians for who they are. The local person in some village somewhere enjoying the local music by the local musician cares not for what the Grammys can do for them, right? So for me, that has always been my caution, that let's not overly obsess and make it the gold standard, and the holy grail of achievement for our artists. That it's okay that some of them may never go, for majority of our artists will never go to the Grammys or never win a Grammy because it's an American awards, right?
So if an artist, you are saying they shouldn't dream of Grammy.
I'm not saying they shouldn't dream.
Uh-huh.
I said collectively we shouldn't obsess and make Grammy the holy grail, to say that if you haven't won a Grammy or you haven't been nominated for a Grammy, then you are not an artist worth to be celebrated in quote, in a way. It shouldn't be like, I don't know, maybe it shouldn't be the most important metric for us in this market.
So what should be?
Well, see, at the end of the day, it's about you and your fans, right? So far as you're able to produce music that is timeless, that entertains people, that can pay for you. Some of you may go international to make money. Some of you locally, it is not everyone who has to drive a Bentley, right? Or a Rolls Royce, or, be drinking Moe every day, right? If you can have your 3-bedroom in Pokwase somewhere, you can take good care of your family through the work you do in music. And let's understand that music goes beyond the musicians. There's a whole value chain. They are instrumentalists, they are technicians, they are producers. Some of these people will never hear their names, but they must make their livelihoods out of music. So let's not always focus on just the musicians alone and thinking that 1 or 2 musicians who make it out there are selling big records means that our entire music industry is benefiting. So we should be careful we do not generalize the successes of few. So right now we can look at Nigerian music and say, oh yeah, Nigerian music is doing well. Of course, we have the Burna Boys, we have the Wizkid, but how is that translating to the hundreds of thousands of other people in the value chain? So for me, I don't want us to be blinded by the glory that comes out of it. That said, obviously, if we have a Ghanaian artist that wins a Grammy, it's great. If we have a Ghanaian artist, even the idea of the proximity within these big stars makes you even dream more. Stonebwoy is there, Taylor Swift is just a few meters away, some of these big stars, like, even in himself, it gives him some level of confidence that, okay, I can rub shoulders with these big guys, right? Maybe I can also do an album that can sell millions over time. So it increases the ambition of our artists. And obviously, if Stonebwoy is doing well and his Nigerian will fear, he can open the doors for many more people. So my point is that, yes, those who can get
what
there.
What do you mean by Nigerian will fear?
Oh no, some people can. When I say he's thinking about people behind him, and he can pull, like how Denta and Rocky Dawoni are pulling people beyond themselves. Our artists, those who, I don't mean anything mischievous. I'm just saying that if he's minded to
you make a Kai something.
Okay. If he's minded to use his opportunities, it can benefit others. Some people may get all the exposure in the world, get all the big, but it may never benefit anybody. Yeah. But some people with just a little opening can take so many people along. So yes, let's celebrate our artists. I think it's wonderful for the visuals. It's wonderful for brand Ghana. Ghana in itself has been getting a lot of leverage, a lot of global branding, and to see some of our stars, rubbing shoulders with global stars. In a way, it's a positioning for Ghana as a whole, and it's further, cementing this idea of Ghana becoming a cultural capital, for Africa. So for me, I think it's a good thing, but I always caution that let's not make it the holy grail. If Sarkodie never wins a Grammy, it is okay. If Otran Kwame doesn't win, it's okay. We appreciate him for the timeless work that he has produced, that will continue to produce. Of course, we appreciate how trim and sexy is. Okay,
Pressure.
Yes.
Right. 9 minutes away from 5 o'clock. Pretty shortly, we'll connect with Denta Amwatin via Zoom. But quickly, Sadiq.
Yes, Sammy.
Before I even ask you for your submission, the picture of Black Sherif and the water thing.
Yeah.
I think that really projected the artist in a different, altogether.
Yeah, it did.
And people should be aspiring for those things as well.
Exactly. So you see that was where I was going to build my point from. That the silver lining of purpose for awards essentially is that they are enablers.
Yeah.
They are industrial enablers. I know how talents to get them to be very modest or to sort of water down on the extreme competition that awards could instigate. Everybody says, "Oh, it's not the best," and you would get some of these modest comments from Chifumi. "Oh, it's okay. Come on, it's never okay."
Yeah, because
I understand that ambitions
are like World Cup
ambitions
for
means
as well.
different things to different people. But most importantly, if you aim for the highest, the biggest metric, there are some benefits it comes on, and it has a cascading effect even to the value chain.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Burna Boy woke up one day to aspire to the Grammys and kept on working at it. He would have resigned to his fate just like the way we do to a lot of our Ghanaians. "Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You don't need to win," and all of those things. It's a very typical Ghanaian attitude. He says, no, it's not okay. He needs to work towards that and get it. So what did he do? He began to realize, he began to look into it and began to add the flesh or the layers that needed him to win. By so doing, do you know what he did? He improved his art. He improved his production. He improved his plug system.
His
he
branding,
improved his
everything.
distribution.
Yeah.
He improves his he expands his he improves his brand, his positioning, and everything. Guess what's happening today? When you talk about Nigeria, previously when Nigeria had a reputation for 419, today when you talk about Nigeria, there's no way you can talk about Nigeria without Burna Boy, Wizkid, and everybody else. Guess what is happening now? By virtue of aiming for the Grammys and uses that as a yardstick, because awards are enablers to expand his positioning across the world, he's been able to activate an interest in Nigerian music in the ways that is delivering value to them. Every year in December, Ghana here will put into almost $3 million to the Nigerian economy. What do you think that is? Every year in Ghana, from all the big shows that's coming on face value, almost $3 million that goes directly to Nigerian talent. And when they are coming, it's not only the talent. When Burna Boy performed here, he came with a whole band made up of Nigerian talent. So I get it that sometimes we do not like to expand the conversation. We look at it strictly from the artist, that particular one. Awards are enablers. When we did 3 Music Awards last year, for instance, it wasn't just the talent that got the rewards that only got an opportunity to expand their brand or build on it. The likes of Black Sherif made something out of it. Today he's got that massive global attention because there was a clear and intentional attempt to say that since awards are enablers and we've invested in creating a certain platform, if we could leverage on that platform, we could actually blow out and grow a global star. That was the mindset. But guess what? On that night, he wasn't the only person that was benefiting. Almost everybody in the value chain, from medical professionals, were benefiting from the platform. Engineers were benefiting from it. People that had gone to film school were benefiting from it. Art directors were benefiting. Dancers were benefiting from it. Various different bands and everything were benefiting from it. So I understand that consistently when we talk about awards and in the ways that, and that's why sometimes I cringe when the likes of Rekido, and I can understand him. Oh yeah, it's not, I mean, it's not, for a musician, it's not. Look, it's a lot of things to aspire to the mother of all awards in the world. It's a lot of things.
We need to nuance
Because
these
there's
points. I need to make a strong.
yes, it's a lot of
objection
things,
somewhere.
and I can understand that. I can understand that
We'll
it's
come back to you
Ghanaian.
for that
yes,
one.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's Ghanaian to be very modest about things.
it's not- it's not being modest,
No, I'm
Sadiq.
coming. It's Ghanaian to say, oh,
It's
you know
being
what?
cautious.
Even if you go to the World Cup and you know you
The
come
World
into the
Cup, they
quarterfinal,
want
I'm
to win. Why are
coming.
we spending all
But
the
you don't want to
millions?
win the World Cup and you don't want to win the Grammys. Which
And
is
it's a
what-
World Cup. It's World Cup. Grammys
because
is not
do you know why?
music
No, okay.
World
So,
Cup.
Chief, do you know why you've?
Yes.
Do you know why
I
you are?
beg, please.
Do you know why?
Let Sadiq finish his
Do you know
point.
why? Because
Yeah.
consistently the sports people have been able, and that's what even happens. So you can imagine that even from an arts platform, this is what we're doing to ourselves. The reason why the sports people you've come to accept that is that constantly they've drummed it home into your mind to see not only the financial value, but to see also the positioning and value that it gives to your country. You understand? Because of course they tell you that if you get to the quarterfinals, you win the World Cup, you get X amount of money, you get this, you get this, you get that, you get that. I've given an example of how when Burna Boy attained Grammys or worked towards Grammys, he expanded, and when they expand today, when you go to Nigeria, previously when BVs was not a big deal, backing vocalists, today there are people that are just earning just by being BVs. It's a big deal to be songwriters these days, even in Nigeria, because when the space improves and there's money and there's all that, and you can get today when music has become more global,
Yeah.
and you are having to, it's also become a volume trade where you gain the biggest global attention for you to be able to make in much money. It's very, very important and a bigger deal to actually aim to for the Grammys. Nobody should say anything less.
Because
Nobody. It is not. We shouldn't
increases
just
your market
accept the
value and all that.
everything.
Yeah.
And you see, I give you example. When Sarkodie, an example, for instance, Blacko. The moment Blacko gained that global prominence, it's expanding. His team has expanded. They are now doing a couple of things. The guys have moved to start to produce their own shows and dropping value to other people. Look at his videos. Who do you think is filming the videos? These are young ones coming from the film school. But the moment his brand went up, appreciated, and he made money, and he needed to keep up or go up, he's beginning to pour more money into some of these things. This is money that comes directly into your economy and to young people that are from film school. So attaining to the biggest has benefits that comes down to everybody. So let's not say that to say, yeah, listen, whether it's a stream competition or not, if you are listening to us, it's a bigger deal. If you don't, we will continue to actually question you and actually continue to, and it's the same thing we should do to ourselves. We should rise to the highest. It's a big deal to have
allow
to
Sadiq to take this into the Ministry
No, I'm
of
coming.
Tourism.
It's a
All right.
big deal.
For policy wise, no, Sammy, let's.
No,
Okay.
it's a big deal. I know.
Let
Look,
me
there are a lot of
respond
theater
briefly before
players.
you
There are a lot of
continue.
theater
All right,
players
all
in
right.
the
Is it
space.
possible?
Right?
I need to connect with Denta real quick.
okay,
so,
okay.
so if
No,
you
but
guys,
it's important that I interject briefly.
we'll come back. We'll come back to
Because
that.
I'm probably one of the most ambitious young men there is, so definitely I can't have a problem with ambition.
Chief, we'll
Oh,
come,
no, I'm
we'll
not
come
saying
back to
you
you.
have.
Yeah, no, I know.
You seem to be watering down.
No, but policy
All
wise,
right,
because
so-
of where you are heading, it's important for us.
So, Grow, Unite, and Build Africa, Guba hosted the Africa Nominee Brunch in California. That was on February 4th to celebrate African artists who have been nominated in various categories for the 65th Grammy Awards. The brunch took place on the eve of the 2023 Grammy Awards. The event actually did play host to nominated artists, including the likes of 2021 Guba Awards winner Angelique Kidjo, Rocky Daouni, 3-time nominee, Burna Boy, Thames, and a host of other great African artists who were nominated. And also in attendance was the Recording Academy CEO, Harvey Mason Jr., and the president of the Recording Academy as well. They were in attendance at the brunch as guests of honor. Now, Guba is and actually happens to be a social enterprise organization dedicated to the advancement of diaspora Africans and Africans on the continent through various socio-economic programs and initiative. All right, so let me connect at this point with Lady Denta Amwatin, MBE. Denta, good afternoon.
Hi. Good morning, Sammy. How are you?
I'm good, and happy belated birthday. Or is it today?
No, it's March. It's March the 13th.
Oh, so we are celebrating all the way through to March. Okay, nice. We'll do that. but But before you even begin to speak, let me say a big congratulations on how far you've come with Cuba. The things you're doing are really amazing. And after the Grammys were held, I'm sure you've seen the praises coming your way across social media. We really appreciate what you're doing for the industry.
Thank you, and I appreciate everyone as well. And good afternoon to my brothers on the panel. I hope everybody's well. Thank you for the comments as well. I really appreciate it.
Well, how do you feel basically after putting up this amazing, event before the Grammys?
Amazing. As Rocky, again, big congratulations to Rocky for always, lifting the flag of Ghana. Last year I had the opportunity to go to the Grammys. Angelique Kudjo actually gave me an invitation to attend the Grammy Awards. And GIPC gave Guba the opportunity to organize an event to celebrate Rocky Dawuni in Vegas as part of his nomination. And through that, we had an amazing event. We put on a great event. Rocky was celebrated. And I met this young gentleman. It was actually when I was leaving. I met this guy called Sean, who was part of the Recording Academy. And he was like, "Oh, you did really good at hosting. Here's my card, keep in touch." And sometimes when you go to events, people give you a card, you just put it away, you don't really think anything of it. So a few months later, I messaged him and I was like, this is Denta, was at the Grammys last year. Sorry, I was Grammys this year and, would, want to connect. And, we started talking. And so at that time, we were planning the Guba Awards. And I was like, look, our board has suggested Harvey Mason Jr. To be awarded for Guba for the work that he has done in the music industry, etc. Do you think it's something that he would come to? And he said, yes, why not? Here's his PA's email. Give it a shot and see how it goes. And so emailed and they were like, yes. It's so important that whenever we are given opportunities and whenever a door is open for us, that we really push the boundaries. Because I could have been scared to say, Grammy CEO dear, how is he gonna come to Guba?
Yeah.
How? But I had the confidence that one, I know that my platform is great, and two, that we wanted to celebrate him. And so he said yes, and I was like, okay, I would want you to come to Ghana first, before we go to Rwanda. And they were like, yeah, why not? Came to Ghana, connected so well. We did an event where we invited, everybody in the creative industry that we could get to come and meet Harvey, to speak to him and just to connect with him. And then following that, there's been ongoing conversations with Harvey. And so just a week to the event, a light bulb moment came, and I was like, oh my goodness, there's nothing to celebrate at the African nominees. Quickly called Harvey and I was like, Harvey, can we do this? Would you support us? Would you come? Would you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And they were like, yeah, then to do it. We'll be there. We'll come and, they actually suggested the venue for us. They helped us. And we were able to put on this event. And the other thing I was like, Harvey, can I get invites for some of these African artists to come to the Grammys? Because there's not many Ghanaians that get the opportunity to be at the Grammys. And so if I'm able to go, I wanna extend that to my African brothers and sisters. He was like, yeah, D, who do you want to invite? And so at that time, it was a bit crazy because I was like, okay, who do you get? You've only got like 3 invitations that's been given. And how do you invite the key people? And I had to think about, okay, who is in America right now? Because one, getting visa, maybe extending it to other artists, getting that they might not have visas, they might not have this, etc. And so I knew that Stone was in what's it called, was in the US. Kiddy was planning on going to the US, and Edem was also in the US. We did extend an invite to Sarkodie, but Sarkodie wasn't able to make it, and King Promise they weren't able to make it. But for me, I really wanted to make sure that we had a good representation at this year Grammy Awards. And I think that we did what we could. The guys, took the opportunity as well, networked. I mean, even at our event, we had Empire, we had Sony, we had so many record labels that were at the event that people could leverage from. And so I'm praying that next year, I mean, Harvey wants this to happen every single year. Next year, when we do it again, we'll be able to have more artists and even more female artists as well represented at the Grammy Awards. And so I've just used the platform that God has given at the time, and I've tried to pull in my brothers to also be part of it.
Wow, this is really wonderful. This is really, really wonderful, and it's amazing how everything just aligned and was easy to like pull off. But I wouldn't say it was easy necessarily, because I want to believe that there were a couple of costs that came through with all that.
Of course.
If you were to put, say, a figure on how much it all cost to come together, what are we looking at?
It cost a lot, but I think the worth in terms of what happened on the day and what is going to happen is you can't put a price on it. You definitely can't put a price on it. And so for me, it's about what can we do from this platform? How do we engage from this platform? And how do we get more creatives on that platform? We gave Chocolate, our designer, the opportunity to also do a small fashion show. We have Selim, we gave art. Selim came to present his artwork that he's doing. And so just really promoting the different creatives that are from the continent, which was really important. So not just, having the artists, but our fashion there. If you speak to Chocolate Bidiako, he will tell you the number of orders that he has gotten through the event. And so I think you can't put money on it.
All right, great. Just before I let you go, real quick, let me just find out as well. What about for media people in Ghana? And this is purely based on my experience back in the day when I used to handle artists. I remember going over to MTV Awards, and then I went over to Channel O as well. When you're on the red carpet like that, there's a lot of media there, but when you step on the carpet, people don't really know who you are. They don't pay attention to you and all that. And I literally had to go talking to each other. Oh, this is this person from Ghana and blah 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 and all that. Are there any more opportunities available for media people to also come there and probably get this from the red carpet itself at the Grammys, and be able to give the Ghanaian contingent that would go all the visibility that it should get as well?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there's going to be loads more opportunities as this one has been successful. I even tried to get some of our photographers on the red carpet. There's stuff that I'm doing in the background, but sometimes you can't even talk about it. But I tried to push, basically. I tried to push the barriers. I tried, to see if our media people can also come and cover it. But it's step by step. This is a global brand. It takes a lot to get your foot in there. But I think I've pretty much put some type of foot in there. And so we're praying that, next year we'll be able to add more people to the Grammys. And I think also just adding about the Grammys is a huge platform. I even saw a tweet from Snoop Dogg on his social media that he put that he's been nominated 20 times but has never won a Grammy. And so to put things in perspective, nominations are sometimes even bigger than winning. Yes, we want to make sure that our artists win. We want them to win. Like the Grammys is the ultimate for any artist, for any musician. But I think that the nominations also open a wide door for a conversation. And so big respect to Rocky Dawuni for getting 3 nominations and opening the door for some of us to be able to come in. So, you know, we really, really appreciate that.
Right. Denta, were there any challenges whatsoever?
No, honestly, I'm a person that just likes to look at the positive. The challenges come every day, but I think for me, I just want us to really focus on the positives and what we can do from henceforth. You know, doing these type of things is not easy. There's a lot of backdoor conversations that happen, and for us to get to this position it's a really, really big deal. Believe you me, it wasn't easy to get our artists on the red carpet. You know, it's difficult.
Yeah.
But you know, through the conversations, through you know, just having that, building those relationships. It's about building relationships in the US, having that relationship, the right people. Doors will be opened, and I think that's what the Nigerians have been able to do. They're good at networking. They have people who are there fighting on their behalf, you know, speaking to the right people. And once we're able to do that, and we have more people through the door to do the similar thing, we will get there.
Great. Denta, let me not take too much of your time, but once again, a very big thank you for everything you're doing for the arts. I don't know if there's anything you want to say in conclusion before we wrap it up.
No, just a big thank you to everybody listening. Let's keep supporting our artists. Let's keep streaming. Let's keep putting them where we can and encouraging them. And you know, just supporting them. We need to make sure that we are supporting each other and no pull me down. Like, let's just really push our artists wherever we can, because that's exactly what the Nigerians are doing. They have people, trust me, who are pushing for them all the time, and we don't have that. And so when we do have people who are trying their best, let's just keep supporting them. And I think that's really, really important.
Lady Denta Martin, MBE, thank you so much for speaking to us, and God bless you. And happy birthday in advance. We look forward to having a great time with you. Yeah.
Thank you, Sammy.
All right, wonderful. Let me at this point connect with Rocky. Rocky, if I still have you and you can hear me. Rocky, I just want us to wrap it up real quick as well. I don't know if you have any last remarks regarding the entire Grammy conversation. And also, once you're in the desert working towards an album, what are we looking at? When are we to expect a new album as well? Hello, Rocky, can you hear me? You would have to unmute if you can hear me. Okay, it looks like we don't have Rocky. Well, we probably don't have him yet. But let me come back to the studio. Chimumi.
Yes. No, you know, we've been having a very interesting discussion, you know. And let me start by saying and making it clear that as a very ambitious young man, there's no way I'm against ambition. Anyone who wants to reach for their dream should reach as much as possible. I have recognized the fact that yes, Grammy, by virtue of its place in the world, has become like the de facto world award. In fact, that's the word I use, de facto, right? So if our people can get there and win recognition, by all means they should. It will bring, you know, a lot of benefit, you know, downstream. All I am just cautioning against is that we shouldn't make it so much of a standard that every single musician who is about to produce I'm producing to win a Grammy. The young man in my neighborhood who is going into the studios, oh, I want to win a Grammy. Because once you begin to do that, you are pandering to certain metrics. But that's then in that way you are killing creativity. Let's ensure.
So, Chief,
yes.
Don't you see yourself reaching the levels of, say, Tyler Perry?
Oh, I even want to go beyond that. He said, let me give you when young people come to me, right? Oh, I mean, you are doing Mansa Musa 200 cast production. You are trying to take it across the world. I know how I advise people. In this world, there are outliers. If you're an outlier, you can take risks. I have been taking risks for the past 10 decades. No, 10 years. Sorry. For the past 10 years.
10 decades.
Look, I am someone like
10 decades.
I am willing to put every last penny I have in my dream. Like, I have never had a point where I've had money sitting in my account for 1 month untouched, because my dreams are scary. They are bigger than, what I can afford, right? And I'm moving. And I tell people that, yes, if you're someone like me who is willing to take all the risks, who is willing to spend all your lifetime building something, by all means go for it. But know yourself. If you are not that kind of person, my friend, find a job somewhere and do and cater for your basic needs and survive. Let's understand, and this comes to entrepreneurship, this whole craze that, we should be entrepreneurs. Look, we are not all going to be entrepreneurs. We are not all going to be like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg. We need a few people like that to change the world, but majority of us are going to be employees. Majority of us are going to be regular Joes. Let us create systems that provide the opportunities for the Steve Jobs to emerge, as well as for the regular Joes to find their space. So my point is that, yes, majority of Ghanaian artists or African artists would never win a Grammy. When we make that an obsession, even as an issue of mental health, it will come to a point where someone feels that because I've not been nominated or won a Grammy, I'm not worth, my creativity. It will bring about depression. So myself is, let's create opportunities.
On the Weekend City Show, I'll say in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, yes, those who want to aspire should aspire as much as possible, but let's not make it a standard for every single person. If we do that, we are pandering to a particular metric and a particular audience, and we are going to kill the diversity of expressions that will come out of. When Billie Eilish was performing her songs in her room, she wasn't thinking about Grammys, but she produced an album that exceeded everybody's expectation. Focus on the art, especially when you're starting in the creativity, and build your discography. Right now, if Ochami Kwame is aspiring for a Grammy, or by all means, if Sarkodie, because they've actualized in the Ghanaian market, right? But my point is that, especially for young people coming, the last thing on your mind when you go into that studio is because I want to win a Grammy. It's because you want to produce timeless quality music. And when the likes of Baba Sadiq hears it and say, oh, this is good music, let's enable this guy, then he can come with all his marketing, and chicks, enabling them propping into let the business guys. But as an artist,
let Sadiq make his final point. We need to move the discussion to another.
Whether we like it or not, whether you're trying to do it even in your small way, there will be standards and there will be benchmark, and particularly where something has proven to be a very stronger and a bigger standard, it's never ever wrong, even if it means that we have to hold people to it. It's a standard. The standard does not only validate your win, it also recognizes the various creative diversities Chief talks about. There are individual categories with different mechanics and metrics. Awards are nothing without the mechanics that makes them. You understand? And so for me, I think that if over 50 years there's a particular group that has continuously invested in research, in creating a stronger mechanics that's logical, reasonable, and empowering for creatives across the world, there's absolutely nothing wrong holding it to anybody, because we know somebody was just explaining to us back off air when we were talking about how 14 different artists from Africa have won the Grammys from different sides of Africa. If you look at the diverse nature of the music that had come up and all, beyond everything else, music, whether you like it or not, has one universal language. The technical language of music is one anywhere across the world. It's a benchmark enough. If your song has not been mixed well, it's not been mixed well. Regardless of wherever standard you want to have. It's not been mastered well, it's not been mastered well. If your song doesn't have the qualities that the technical people understand it to be, that makes it like a song, proper song in the way it's supposed to be, it doesn't. Here's the case, there's a particular award has not only become an enabler, but validates all the good things that has to do with music universally.
You mean
where
Grammys
everybody
validates all the good things that has to do with music?
Yes, that's what Grammys does.
All right. Sadiq, you make your point, because we're
even
wrapping
Grammys
up
themselves face criticism in their home country.
It doesn't mean that.
But let's not say they validate everything
right.
good and that they are the world's biggest authority in music. That's
Because
what I
they've
disagree.
they've ended.
They have credibility.
all right. At this point, this matter, we have finished it. We won't talk about it again.